So, last time in Renascence, you guys had finally engaged La Sharog and his Leviathan Colt in pitched battle. And you kicked some ass. You kicked a whole lot of ass. It took us 2 sessions to get through it. But in the
There's so many NPCs!
In the end, you killed Bloodbeard. La Sharog and his remaining lieutenants fled via their depthless plunge teleportation ability. And you guys were able to clear out the lower decks of the ship with just like a couple of spells and some good old elbow grease. It was kind of a madhouse.
Kind of. It's a boat of cultists. It's very much a madhouse.
Well, there's not many cultists left, so it's a lot less mad than it was. You guys also figured out exactly what this enchantment on Lauren was. A very gnarly trap had been set for her at the front of the ship, in the hopes that they could kill her specifically, for whatever reason. We are picking up in the wake of this battle. Lauren has used a couple of the autonomous armors to fly down to the water and commune with nature, getting herself a heading on La Sharog's ilk. The rest of you finished securing the ship, rounding up prisoners, and decided to start taking a short rest, if I recall correctly.
Yes, but I also had a query.
Yeah, any questions?
So, some of the armors broke, right?
I believe 2 of them were knocked out. Yeah, one of them hit the deck, the other one plunged into the ocean. So you have 7 left.
Can I cast Mending on the one that hit the deck, or would that not be? Because I know for like automatons, for like artificer nonsense, you can use Mending to give it back hit points, but I don't know if that qualifies for something that doesn't belong to you.
Yeah, this would require a little bit more attention to repair. You can see that there's, some pretty significant internal damage. This thing primarily took a lot of magical hits. It would need to be taken apart and repaired with specific components to fix it.
Also unrelated, I'm really glad that they were immune to lightning damage, because if they weren't, I would have been in a really shitty situation with what carrying me around.
They were very specifically immune to 3 spells: Fireball, Lightning Bolts, and Heat Metal.
Good call on those.
Limited spell immunity is a really crazy feature. But yeah, there are still 7 in relatively decent shape. And you still have the mech, and you still have the verdigris. And now you have Belasco's Bane.
At this point,
I already called dibs, so I have it. I
David's
literally
called-
nose ghost.
David's called dibs on the ship.
I nose
wait,
ghost.
isn't those goes if
No,
you don't
no,
want to
yeah.
do something?
Yeah, that's if you don't want to do things. So if you already nosed Ghost, technically you'd be the first to not have it.
Yes. It's the opposite of what
I
you
called
want.
dibs. Also, crap, they got me in a contingency.
Also, shut up!
I called dibs, dang it.
Well, you'll have to talk to the Eastern Alliance, probably. That's a
Speaking of
conversation for
which,
later.
So you guys do have the benefit of a telepathic bond as you're starting the short rest. And as I recall, Lauren, you were talking about swimming after La Sharog and company?
Yes.
Okay. So, as you're swimming, back on the ship, I think that as this battle is kind of wrapping up, and you guys have, the prisoners have been secured. The ship is yours. Gideon and Aaron and Gerald and Alexia are sort of kind of taking stock and assessing and regrouping with all of you. Looking out over the ocean, you guys can see that there is still a pretty gnarly looking battle happening out in the distance in the middle of that storm. You can see the flashes of cannon fire. You can hear the distant booms and echoes as broadsides are unleashed. And intermittently throughout that battle, you can see these flashes, these long blue electric white lines of energy shooting up out of the ocean. Some, kind of sliding past these ships, others seeming to hit their mark and cause a significant distant fireball with a long echoing in the distance. And I think that the Gatewatch and Alexi are pretty intensely discussing amongst themselves at the moment whether it is wise for them to linger given what the East Alliance is currently up against. And it would not take very long for them to kind of pull you guys into this conversation. Primarily the three of you that were sort of linked into this, officers' chat.
All right, that was.
Did you post them in references?
I posted a picture of my notes the other week. Alora, Noel, and Gideon are in the chat with the officers.
Sure.
And
so
they're
the overlap.
They're also all in the chat with Barnaby and the other Lost Emeralds.
Okay.
But the only people that have both chats are Alora, Noel, and Gideon.
Okay, so Gideon, I think, is probably the primary voice.
Go between.
Is kind of voicing their opinions to everyone. This is all happening telepathically. Gideon would say to you that as much as a rest is probably warranted in the wake of this victory, I'm not sure that we can afford to necessarily rest here. The enemy certainly seem to have a number of those creatures at their disposal, and I would not begrudge the Alliance our support, considering everything that they've mustered to get us this far.
Well, considering all that they've mustered, I certainly hope we can catch up.
I knew you were gonna say that.
Unpredictable, I'm not sorry.
Gideon's quiet for a moment.
Gideon takes 1d4 of psychic damage.
Just a long mental sigh.
Somebody talk to Bloodbeard's head and figure out where we're going so I don't have to follow them.
We can.
There is one downside to speak with dead. Bloodbeard is aware of who he's talking to, so he can still choose not to tell us things.
Have Noel look like La Sharag.
Yes, but I have,
We'll just put...
No, I'm trying to think of if there's a way that I can, get Noel to cast it with my spell slot.
I think can anyone talk to the dead, or does it have to be you?
Anybody could cast questions.
We've been running it as anybody could cast it recently. If we really want to look
Anybody
at
can
it.
cast it?
Or anyone can ask it questions.
Oh, okay. So yeah, I'll cast it, and I'll cast it from behind his head.
Well, for
So
what it's
Bloodbeard remains dead on the deck. This massive orc just fucking lying in a pool of his own blood.
Before we jump into that, I do think we should.
We're not asking his body.
Oh, you cut off his head, that's right.
John cut off his head, yeah.
John, the head is just dangling in John's hand.
You can put it down, John. It's been 15 minutes.
It's been like 2 minutes, if that. Since the
Well,
battle
if we
ended.
know what the trap did, it's been at least 10 minutes because Burberry was
Right.
identifying it.
Yep.
With nature. That's true. And yeah, commune with nature would take a minute or 10 minutes if you cast it as a ritual.
I think Alorn did it as a full spot.
Just a spell slot?
Yeah.
Okay. So Lauren's been
Lauren was
swimming
in a
for like
hurry.
10 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, where is the battle relative to where our current position? Is it the direction
battle-
Lauren's going, or is it the opposite way? Or
The battle is to the southwest. Aloring is swimming southeast.
okay. How far are we from the battle, roughly?
A couple of miles.
Oh, okay, so we're pretty close.
You can easily reach it within an hour.
Sure. We can only go a couple miles an hour.
They're not fast ships. They're much faster in orbit. Amongst the planes. Or at least the verdigris is.
I don't think Velasquez Bane can do that.
No, as far as you know.
There's someone we'll find out.
Eventually.
Okay, well, it sounds like step one is see what we can get from Bloodbeard.
Okay.
Anyone has any clever thoughts about how to properly ask a question like this? I'm all ears. Because I feel like Lashrog probably knows
We
where we're
use
going.
we use reverse psychology. We ask them if we were trying to see what's the best way to avoid Lashrog. Where would he definitely not be? So we can stay far away from it.
You want me to turn to Lashrog and ask where Lashrog would not be?
Yeah.
Well, if we ever need to speak with that for your head, we'll keep that logic in mind.
Or maybe not even
it'd probably
Lashrog,
work on
maybe
me.
turn into the wizard guy or something.
Maybe like one of the lower henchmen.
Yeah. I feel like that'd be feasible, but they might not know.
There's a lot of bodies lying on the deck for reference.
Yeah, well, like what's
Hey, you could have it be
that
one of my.
guy or that guy.
You could have it be one of my brothers. Well, dead brothers now.
Feels a tad morbid.
I mean, they're still your brothers, even if they're dead. They're just your dead brothers.
I guess it's morbid no matter who I pick.
Yeah, it's just turn into like an underling and be like, Lashrog wants us to meet him at the temple.
Who was that? There was like a really ineffectual hobgoblin guy, like standing up there in the globe with Lashrog, wasn't there?
Well, yeah, but he got taken with them. But
The guy with the flaming
Bloodbeard was-
sword?
No, the cowering guy, right?
I don't know. No, not the cowering guy. The guy that was like in the globe with him, and I don't remember him doing anything.
There was a
Turned
guy.
into the cowering guy, and he's
There
just
was a
like,
guy
oh,
manning
it's
the helm.
dead.
He got taken. There was one like minor cultist that was like still alive on
Yeah,
deck
not that
watching
guy.
all this happen.
I don't think Bloodbeard's gonna tell that guy.
There were some more powerful guys that were summoning demons.
That's true.
You could just put it like, Lashrog wants me to meet him at the temple, but he didn't have enough words with his sending to tell me where to go.
Yeah.
Type of thing.
I think
Lost Emeralds.
I mean, my
That's the
only
ship or
my only
something.
thinking is, I want to make sure this person is powerful, or is high up enough in the ranks that, like, the problem is, when did Bloodbeard die? Before or after Lashrog teleported away? It
Before.
had to have been before, right?
Yeah.
No, it was after, but he was unconscious during the teleportation because he couldn't consent to it.
Oh, that's true.
I guess
Okay.
technically he was unconscious.
Yeah. So he wouldn't know who teleported.
Right.
So it could just be any one of the non-Lashrog guys. Which is why I'm thinking ineffectual flamesword hobgoblin man is our go-to.
Then do it. Do it.
I don't know his name,
No.
but I guess that's okay. Sure. I'm going to I'll use my armor, I will use my abilities, and I will change into whoever the hell this guy was.
Okay. So you take the form of this black plate-mailed, broad-shouldered, tall hobgoblin warrior. Pretty intimidating-looking guy up close. You got a decent look at him during the battle, but now that you're kind of trying to recapture that essence, you can feel the gristle, you can feel the scars across the face, the receding hairline, the desire for a big fucking sword in your hand. But that
There's,
doesn't show up with the shape change.
There's no ladies on this ship, were there?
There were some. The majority were dudes.
Lost Rock. Okay, got it. Cool.
It was a sausage fest.
It was kind of a sausage fest. Most of the cultists, the majority, were dudes.
Lost Rock likes this.
You gotta ask yourself, who's gonna join a cult? Disaffected, unemployed young men? Yeah, nah, that fucking... That foots the bill.
Getting too real.
I'm just saying. Anywho, you transform into this figure, and Burberry, you invoke the right to speak.
From behind. From behind. I don't want him seeing me.
You grasp the head
Put
from
some
behind.
blinders on him.
No, okay, so what we'll do is you should stand behind the wheel.
Make a whole stage show out of this. Alright, and cue the rain effects!
Yeah, you
We'll be in a dark room in the lower decks.
Okay, you and Kant speak with Dead, and for a moment it is quiet, and then you hear this rasping, kind of squelching, as this lifeless head opens its mouth and takes a ragged breath, passing through the windpipe. In one hole and out the other. Blank eyes look up at you. And as a trickle of blood kind of starts to spill down the corner of the mouth, you hear Blackbeard's...
Bloodbeard.
Bloodbeard's, goddamn. Bloodbeard's, very raspy, much more raspy than it was before, voice, ask, "What is it?"
He's impatient.
Excuse me, I was taking a nap.
Before I commit to doing any of this, just making 100% sure, we just need to know where La Shirag is going exactly.
Where the temple is. Just ask where the temple is.
Okay.
Because that's where he's going, and we know that's where he's going.
Okay.
I mean, you can ask the question just to be on the safe side and then ask about the temple, but I'm 99% positive he's going to the temple. But.
Sure. I think I'd start with I'll cut to the chase here. I don't know what this guy's voice would have sounded like. I know Noel would. But I would say something to the effect of, we have managed to hold Belasco's Bane after the battle, but La Shirag had to be sure he got out all right and had to leave before we concluded things. I've not been informed of exactly where the ruins are, and I will need a heading and an exact location in order to meet him there.
Bloodbeard's brow furrows, and he rasps out, "I don't hear a question."
Where is the exact location of the ruins?
Okay.
Yeah, you couldn't infer a question from that?
The magic is very specific.
Didn't have a question mark at the end.
There's an exasperated
I need a heading.
sigh out of the head as he kind of rolls his eyes.
You need a heading? Start with a good beheading.
The ruin is in the depths, Zekvol.
That's my
You should have paid better attention. Idiot.
Okay, over the psychic like, I'm like, okay, this guy's real mean. Yes. He says there it's in the depths. That's it.
You already knew.
Ask him if he ever got called Buttbeard when he was growing up.
It seems like
Okay,
a
ask him how would we get there? What is our heading?
Well, it was part of the first question, but it didn't answer that part.
That wasn't a question. That was a series of statements.
I guess then I would say what is our heading to arrive at the ruins as fast as possible?
Dive and swim for the deep. How do you not know this?
Wow, he's really unhelpful. He's gonna
like
make
he's
us go through all
telling
He's
us-
five.
I feel like
unhelpful,
he's
he's
taking-
angry.
He's just telling us to take a really long walk off a really short bridge.
Where in the deep?
The
It's-
deepest part of the deep.
Where is the deepest part of the deep?
Of the deep. The center. Zekvol.
We're talking about like thousands of square miles of area, though. Like the center could mean a
Give me the
huge
exact-
area.
Here, how this?
I think he means the center of the crater.
Well, yeah, but that's. Do you know how big this crater is?
It's huge.
We could be searching for days to find the exact center of it.
Ask him what the exact coordinates on a map of.
Let me just get a map real
The
quick. You
ruins.
just board it out to me with
Yeah,
your
I mean,
nose.
well, okay, no. I'm gonna. So, we might not be able to know exactly where the center is if we don't look at a map, but if we can't figure out where the exact center is on the map before we fly there, that's a different problem.
That's true. We do have Alexia to nerd over it.
we can't figure out coordinates by just drawing a bunch of straight lines.
But is it the exact center, or is it like slightly to the right, 500 miles, or
Just follow the light, Zekvol.
Oh, there's a light down there.
Gods, you filthy fucking imbecile.
Also, Aloran's not here.
There
so-
has been a blinding red light shooting up out of this part of the ocean for months now. It's been growing steadily week after
Lasherog
week.
did mark it on our map for us, essentially.
Is that at the bottom? I can just sink in my armor and I'll be fine.
I've basically got an anchor all over me.
There's a
Well, that's the
big red
thing.
dot.
If I drown, I got floaties. They'll pop me up.
Boop.
If I drown, I have floaties.
That actually is my armor, mariner's armor.
The
I know,
DM
it's
is
just so funny.
the
Well,
DM is
how
just
else am I
putting-
supposed to go up there?
I will to use our questions. I assume we've only asked 4-ish here at this point.
Okay.
I would say my apologies, but we also believe that the lost emeralds escaped the battle. Do you know what contingency plans we have in place for if they arrive at the ruins?
Sorry, I just see the rage about to spurt out of Bloodbeard. Please continue.
There's another. We kill them,
I knew you'd
Zekvol.
say that. Specifics,
And
sir.
if we don't, the Leviathan will.
Okay. This was the least helpful speak with that I've ever done.
Yeah, that was pretty. That was pretty ass.
Alright, here's the head back, John.
You want to ask a fucking grumpy ass pirate lord? Obviously, the question's about his plans.
I mean, I was pretty specific with that last one. All right. Well,
What's your passive insight?
passive insight. Not terrible. 18.
18. You know, I would say, Noel, with that final exasperated answer, I think you could probably glean through Bloodbeard's exasperation and frustration there. There is an almost what's the word I'm looking for? There is a tone there, an almost arrogant note in that answer. It doesn't sound as though Bloodbeard thought you guys would escape. The notion that you would have gotten away, he reacted as though that was an almost ludicrous idea.
That's a bit of hope, I suppose. Well, I passed this all over the intercom of our minds.
Fair.
And, I guess it's kind of up to Lauren where she's going? Are you still following? I feel like we're all going somewhere that is pretty easy to find. Are you gonna swim your way there?
She's swimming.
Because you might
If
be
you guys
there
pick her
about
up.
like a day.
No, you guys would catch up because she would fall asleep in the water. And
No,
you guys
that's
would catch
true.
up to her.
Yeah. I think Gideon would chime back in after this, and he would say, "It might behoove us to, dare I say, split up at this juncture. If you want to get ahead of us and continue after Lost Shirog, we can at least take the Bane back towards the Navy and help them wrap up."
But what if the Leviathan pops its little ugly head out of the ruins and you guys aren't there to help us?
Well, I would hope that we could catch up to you in due time. Can't imagine this battle lasting
After we're dead, God.
more than a few hours. And if they're swimming for the center of the crater, it's going to take them days to reach the heart of that
That was
light.
going to be my next question. No, they're not swimming. It sounds like they're riding a Leviathan baby, but yeah.
Something swimming. Alexei would like me to pitch an idea. Although I'm not sure how comfortable I am with this. You could take the verdigris into orbit, then sail for the heart of the Helon Deep from above, versus flying it across plane.
We could wait. Say that again?
The verdigris is capable of plane shifting. You could leave Vergos momentarily, do an about face, and drop back to the surface right on top of the center of the deep.
Oh, so like beat him there.
Well, considering it would probably only take you an hour, if that, to reach the surface again, I imagine you would beat them there. I'm not.
She's backwards and she's swimming back.
Laura's swimming back.
I'd love to beat them there. Wait, I don't know how to fly this thing.
Well, the wardens do.
Oh, okay. Can I be the captain while you're gone, Gideon? Can you leave me your little hat?
I have the hat you gave me.
Yeah, that's the captain's hat. Can I have?
So I need to give you the hat back that.
Yeah,
Cool.
so I'm gonna be the captain while you're gone, and then when you get back, I'll give you the hat back.
Okay. You can have the hat. I will point out, he was not wearing it during the battle. The hat was probably up in the helm, like sitting on the chair.
Also, you have to wear the hat, or I'm not gonna listen to you anymore.
I wasn't going to subject it to actual combat. It felt like a waste of a gift.
No, it's supposed to get battle torn. I have a lot of memories, you know?
It's a good lie.
It's a nice hat.
Yeah. You're really good at lying, Gideon. Is this why you're a leader?
That's a dark assessment.
One of many qualities that makes for a good leader. Now, I take it you're coming back then?
Yes, I'm swimming back.
Oh, okay.
I'm taking the hat, though, and I'm gonna make you wear it. So.
Okay, are you wearing the hat or am I wearing the hat now? I'm confused.
Wait, are you gonna be on the ship, or are you gonna go to the...
I think if you intend to take the verdigris ahead of us, which I do agree that you should, then we're taking the Bane back to the
battle.
Back to the battle.
Okay, well then I'm gonna take the hat while I'm the captain of the verdigris, and then when you come back to the verdigris, you can have your hat back. I'll just be your, like, little stage captain.
Fair enough.
That's gonna be a big hat on you, Lauren.
It's okay. I won't lose it.
It'll probably look kind of adorable.
Oh, did you have the captain's coat too over there?
Did you get him a coat too?
I did. She draped it on his shoulders.
Yeah, they're both probably like in the captain, like not in the helm on the verdigris, like on the chair.
Perfect. Okay, Lauren's gonna get back to the ship, find the little guy that dropped her off, go up there, put on the hat and coat.
So, considering you've been swimming for like 10 minutes at this point, if you're turning around about to come back, I think Gideon is going to ask the rest of the party. It's like, is this the plan then? Are we committing to this? Because we should take the Bane sooner than later, if we are.
Yeah, Noel sort of looks off at the chaos in the distance and is like, yeah, time might be of the essence here.
Also, you might be able to catch them off guard if you bring the Bane, because they might think it has allies.
That's true.
The Bane's also not submergible as far as I know, so...
Kind of glad we didn't destroy the storm spires now.
Now you guys can control them.
Definitely worked out in our favor.
I would want to do a quick... just because we have access to a place that was ostensibly La Chirag's and company's. For the purposes of scrying, I would love to find things that are explicitly La Chirag's and the wizards, if I can.
Once Lauren gets back, she's gonna help Noel with that. Also save me something cool.
Yeah, okay. So, I mean, the two things, or not two things, the two rooms that you guys would have immediate access to. There is the large bed chamber / war room / sacrificial altar on the main deck, right?
Mm-hmm.
The first room that you
As
guys
you
kind of burst into. There was, a series of bookshelves surrounding that war table, lots and lots of charts and stuff. There's a small foot locker at the foot of this large 4-poster bed at the rear of that chamber, and there's a little staircase leading down to the second chamber on the lower deck, which is what looks like a dining room with 2 locked doors on the, I guess, off to the left as you're coming down the stairs, and then one door at the far end of that chamber that opens into the rest of the hold. Those locked doors, being locked, you would not have looked inside of yet.
Okay. I mean, I would search what we have access to first.
Okay. Then we'll say investigation check then. No.
Okay. Can Snowell give me advantage and help?
I guess that would make sense. She'd kind of know how best to accent your habits, your abilities, talents.
Pretty good. 24.
24. Yeah, I mean, there's just a lot of stuff in this upper chamber that looks like it could qualify as a personal possession. There are some pretty gnarly looking daggers kind of resting on that stone plinth. They look very well used, very stained with blood. There's, a number of, not a number, a very large amount of books on those shelves.
I think
And I
Noel
would
would.
say you
Oh, go
would
ahead.
not characterize Bloodbeard as a leader, so those are probably not
Well, Bloodbeard, we don't need to scry on. He's.
exactly. But
here.
this was his old ship, right?
Yeah, I assume Lost Rock had quarters or something, though.
I would say as you're kind of going to the footlocker at the foot of that large bed, you would find a few different sets of the same kind of dark, simple cut robe that you recognize Lashrog wearing when he just confronted you on the deck of the ship.
Okay. I think Noel would just prioritize making sure that she gets something that is definitely Lashrog's, and possibly if she can find something that the wizard owned, that would be handy too.
I would say it would be hard to guarantee anything in this chamber necessarily was the wizard's as you're looking around.
I mean,
it could plausibly belong to Lashrog, for all you know.
we
Given
ask-
how much of this chamber looks like Lashrog stuff.
Right, could we ask one of the crewmates where the wizard stayed?
Yeah, they would be able to tell you that the wizard and Bloodbeard and Zekval, the warrior, they all actually slept out in the hold with everyone else. But the wizard specifically did spend a decent amount of time in the locked workshop just off the dining room. It's the rearmost door next to the stairs.
Do you or anyone else know if that door is warded or trapped?
The crew, like the basic ass, like cannon crew survivors left, among
Any
your
of you
prisoners.
ever heard them say
Probably.
something or watched them enchant something next to that door?
They enchanted up and down the ship. The whole they enchanted the door. Like you guys triggered most of them when you stormed down here. It's probably warded. We don't fuck with it. We don't touch it. That's his.
Okay, well, then we just bash it down.
Sure, yeah.
Where's Gerald?
Gerald, would you like to roll to bash down a door?
Do it.
Okay. Which one was he?
I wrote down that I acquired some of Lashrog's robes. That works.
Yeah.
15.
15. Yeah, you slam into that door, and it doesn't really buckle to that strike.
Well, he has
There is definitely some manner of reinforcement, some sort of magic reinforcement on this passage.
25.
Okay, 25 will hit.
What?
25 will hit.
14 damage.
14 damage. Okay.
Plus 8 radiant damage.
Plus 8 radiant. Okay. I would say as the blade bites into the door, there is definitely a ripple of magical energy that kind of emanates out from the impact. It takes some work for Gerald to finally cut through this door. But over the course of, a minute of just heavy swings, eventually this thing will just collapse into a pile of broken planks and large splinters. And inside you would find a very cramped workshop for all intents and purposes. There is a long table filled with alchemical arrays and glass tubes and pipes, decanters. There's what looks like a small kind of makeshift furnace off to one side. There's another desk with books and parchments splayed out. Lots of arcane implements in these small little square cubbies lining the wall. The air in here smells very strongly of herbs and fumes. It's a lot of shit. There's a lot of shit lying around in here. A lot of spell components, a lot of valuable wizardry material.
Okay. Well, I think I'm just going to scoop a bunch of the notes into my bag of holding and make sure I just get one specific item that seems pretty explicitly owned by this guy.
Yeah, I think among those, there's probably, a notebook lying off to the side of that, the desk with the loose papers. And flipping through it, it looks as though it is a record of component usage and current stocks. And in the earliest pages, kind of a very, very dry and terse little journal, kind of accounting for the days leading up to the Armada departing.
Okay. Well, I thank Gerald and keep all that stuff on me as we part ways with the Gatewatch.
Okay.
Once Lauren arrives.
We could go down to meet her.
Oh right, yeah, we don't even have to wait for her to get here.
Yeah. And
Also,
over
there's the distance thing, between where we are and where she is.
Yeah, we have to descend the ship.
Over the course of a couple minutes, you guys would be able to get the verdigris up and level, get some planks, some gangways set up between the two ships. The crew of the verdigris would kind of split in half here. Half of them would remain on the Gatewatch's vessel. The other half would kind of take command of the Bane, joining the Gatewatch. Question for everyone. Gideon would, I think, ask during this process: who's taking the mech?
I mean, I took it last time.
Barnaby, do you want the mech for this final leg of things?
Does the mech go underwater? I forgot.
Does Barnaby go underwater?
Barnaby does
Go
go
underwater.
underwater.
Okay.
Although I don't think I can breathe now that I think about that.
Well, we've got Adlar for that.
Alright.
Well, the mech can be submerged. It just probably can't really open again until you're back in open air. It's a little precarious trying to leave at that sort of depth. I'd be careful.
Oh, right. I leave it to Barnaby's discretion, honestly. He was the one who used it.
Okay.
Honestly, I'm about out of gun food for it, so...
Well, it's gonna be a day or two at least.
Yeah. I only say it to warn you. If you do take it with you and you're piloting it, you will probably not be able to leave until you reach your destination. So it may be a couple of days cramped in there.
Oh, wait a second. If I can breathe in it, or if I can breathe underwater, then we could just flood it with water. And we don't have to worry about the pressure.
There's some concern from Gideon about that. And Aaron, probably, honestly. I don't know if they would know. Nah. I think Aaron would probably caution against flooding the interior of the mech.
Basically, if you take the mech with you, you can't do the cheeky, I'm sticking my head out and shooting a gun!
No, I get that. And dang it, Bark's not a humanoid, so I can't have him pilot. I mean, if you think about it,
Oh, wait.
I might not be the best target for it since I don't have as much gun food I can give to it.
Why do you keep calling it gun food?
Terrible question. Would Barnaby's gun work underwater?
Barnaby what?
Would Barnaby's gun work underwater if it's gunpowder?
It's a repeating shot as part of my artificer thingy.
Oh, it's a magic gun.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's magic.
Okay.
No, but it's not a magic gun because Barnaby refuses to admit that it's a magic gun.
Barnaby's convinced he's devised waterproof gunpowder.
Yeah.
Sounds about right.
You see, you just make the gunpowder burn hotter than the water would cool it down.
Exactly.
You know what? You're a smarter man than I, Barnaby.
Can't argue with that. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I wasn't sure what I was going to say. I'm just trying to figure out if we're taking this mech or not.
Sorry, my brain's distracted. Instead of doing runes and stuff, like if you look at Barnaby's spell casting, it's just a bunch of like science formulas.
Yeah, probably.
Spells, as you guys keep calling them, are all legitimate things that you can do.
Question. Are secondary NPCs coming with us?
They are taking the Bane to go help the Navy.
That's
Okay.
the only
The
thing that
Navy
makes
is-
me think we should take the mech is because we just won't have backup.
Well, I know for certain that I can't pilot it because I
Snowell might be able to pilot it.
And it needs spell slots for all of its big stuff, that's all. So
Well, she's not long for this world, I don't think.
okay. Sure. Where do you want to put
does she
Snowball
need
in there?
healing?
She can't be healed. At least not without spending a lot of money.
Okay. Well, I was gonna say like I have like the big potion, but
I was going to ask, does Snowell have a necklace of adaptation?
No.
Noelle did.
Noelle
Noelle
does.
Are you attuned to it?
I'm using a cloak with a mana ray because it's technically.
So she could be.
Snowell would ask for it, I think, if she's being nominated as the pilot of the mech. She's like, if we're down there for more than a day, I don't want to run out of air.
I see. Okay, So the idea is that if you go in the mech, can you cast spells out of the mech?
You can use your spell slots to fuel the mech's pseudo magical abilities, the spell shots and the force gun and the like.
Okay.
But you are enclosed inside the mech, so anything that would require line of sight or not line of sight, but a direct line from you to the target would be a non-starter.
I mean, could she cast a hypnotic pattern?
Hypnotic pattern. .30-foot cube within range. I would assume because you can cast spells through windows, like some spells.
I mean,
it's just
if
like,
you could see
fireball or lightning bolt, like that wouldn't work.
Oh, okay.
That kind of like if you were shooting something from yourself out, that would be a problem because you would be hitting the windshield of the mech. But if you can see out of the mech, other spells.
I kind of feel like her spells might. I wouldn't want to cut her off of anything useful by forcing her into that robot.
So then let's just leave the robot behind.
I think we just, if nobody's going to benefit from it, then there's not a lot of point in us taking it.
Okay.
Can we have some of the little robots, though?
You'll see Gideon immediately, like, fucking directing, say 4 of them.
Sure.
Onto your vessel.
All right. We got some robots.
Okay.
Before we leave, can Lorne will ask Alexi if he can do his little wizard math brain stuff and figure out where the exact center of the Hellon Deep is?
Yes, he'll grab one of the fucking hundreds of sea charts that are laying out on, not hundreds, but dozens of sea charts that are laying out on the war table in Lost Rock's chamber. He'll probably like start doing these calculations, and then he'll find one that's like, oh, he did it already, and he like fucking finds a map where Lost Rock is like triangulated, a route from what looks like a port, or not a port, but a base of theirs off the coast of Torgalanzil, the north, and that he seemed to have charted a path from there all the way to the center of the Sea of Hellon. Like they were ready. They were going in that direction very clearly as you're kind of looking over this evidence. And Alexi would say, "Well, I mean, this should be more than adequate. If you can
Perfect. Thank you.
line up with that."
Good luck. You got this. Don't be nervous.
You too. We'll link up with you as soon as we can. At the very latest tomorrow. We'll see what it takes for me to get everything done.
Good luck, guys.
You too. Stay safe. And if you need anything, I mean, you can always send at least.
Fair enough.
And there.
Lauren will go put on her hat and coat.
Okay.
The verdigris.
So the party would part from the Bane, sail down to the sea to pick up Lauren, grab her. You can grab your coat and your hat as they haul you up out of the water. Mm-hmm. And once everybody is safely inside, the wardens who are manning the helm will, signal to the emeralds. So we're making a jump. Are we all good? Are we ready?
We're jumping, you scallywags.
Okay, so sorry, real out of quick character real quick. So this is the first time in any point of D&D that I have rolled all of my hit dice.
Oh.
Wow.
And even with that and the potion of superior healing, I'm still not at
Jesus. Did you add your con modifier for each of those?
Oh no, I just forgot to fucking add my max hit dice to my level. So technically, I have 3 left. I can use 1 more. All right, I take it back.
Superior healing, right?
I did. That was with it.
Oh.
I saved the really big one for the fight.
Probably a good idea.
That's fair. Well, with that, the wardens will kind of half laughing along with you, half a little bit nervous. They will give you the salute and the aye, Captain. You will see them take hold of one of the levers on the dash, pull, and the verdigris, like it was on the day of the test, is suddenly wrapped in arcane energy, pulling it inward and pushing it out into a new space. You find yourselves once again suspended in the inky black of wild space, and in front of you, the blue and white streaked marble that is Vergos hangs quiet and tranquil. You can see the sun shining in the distance. You can see the moons kind of peeking around the far side of the ship, of the planet. And from the center of the Sea of Halan, there is a very noticeable bright red pulsing light, like an angry star, shining from the surface of the planet. I guess we're heading down there then.
Oh, I got you the
That would
exact
make
coordinates. There you go. From Lostrog himself.
Oh boy.
Don't you mean Bloodbeard?
Oh, I think they were
These were
Lostrog.
Lasherog's notes.
Oh, my bad. Sorry. I was distracted by all of these clackies.
So many click-clacks.
So there's a whole box.
Well, with the heading,
Never
the
used this
verdigris
many
would
dice
begin
here.
to lower itself, and Vergos would begin to grow larger and larger. And over the course of the next hour, you would watch as the black around you began to be overtaken by a haze of deep blue. Soon clouds begin rushing past the windshield of the bridge. That deep blue would be transitioning into a bright, sunny blue. And soon, you are diving through clouds. You can see the distant lands, Cathrazil, Simoris, of Laymore, and of distant Lythor to the west, slowly receding towards the horizon, while the red light below you grows and grows and grows. And before you even hit the water, that sunny blue sky gives way to a growing red until it completely overtakes your view in every direction. When the verdigris does finally hit the water, you feel the ship almost vibrating as this light washes up from the depths. God knows how many miles deep, and pushes up through the surface of the water into the sky, miles high. The energy you now suddenly find yourselves in as the ship begins to dive, pushing through the water and through this blinding red, is palpable. It sets the hairs on your bodies on ends. Feel almost like a charge of static between your teeth. But it only took you an hour. And in a very short amount of time, you guys have skipped ahead several hundred miles. And Aloran, I think, having paced Loshrog for about 10 minutes before turning back, you are very, very confident that there is no way in hell they are going to beat you to the bottom of the ocean.
That makes Lauren very happy.
That's a big advantage.
Guys, we're gonna get there
Honor
first.
fee.
I'm so excited.
What
Lauren,
will
did
that
you
mean
still have
exactly?
bomb?
What-
Did you make one or two of those bombs? Barnaby?
I didn't make any extra bombs. They didn't have time for that.
Oh well.
Something about they wanted the gunpowder for the cannons, not for my bomb.
So are we swimming down?
The ship is diving.
Oh, the ship can do that, right?
Ship is submersible, yes. And
Boy, this thing is handy.
it is sinking. You can see, feel really the water kind of pushing up against the hull as the ship continues to dive deeper and deeper. But the visual outside the windshield remains this vivid, blinding, unyielding red.
So we're just gonna crash into this shit, aren't we?
Assuming we know the rough depth of the Halan Deep, or someone's mapped it out at some point, we
Probably
can
true.
make an estimated guess to not run into anything.
And I think as you're looking over Lasharog's charts, you can definitely tell, this motherfucker was definitely making guesses. You can see him in the margins of some of these charts having scrawled small little kind of cutaway models. Attempting to try and triangulate, okay, if the rim of the deep is this deep and the slope up to this point, is extends that far, how much further
Right.
does it go before it levels out? Having said all of that, as you kind of parse through those notes, it definitely looks as though you guys are going to be diving for a while. It is miles to the bottom.
Hey, Noel.
Yeah.
Since it's gonna be like a couple days till we get to the bottom, or at least a day, could you do ascending to Lost Rog and just say thanks for the map, please?
Do we really want to tell
I-
him that we're going to get there first? Really?
Well, that doesn't make it sound like it just says thanks for the map. We know where you're going.
Maybe better we not tell them that. Just element of surprise in any direction.
Okie dokie.
I'm inclined to.
But you can. No. Lauren, it's perfect. Save it for the first cheeky thing you say when you see him.
That's true.
It'll make
That'd
him really
be a
mad,
good
and you'll
one-liner.
get to see his reaction.
If it's any consolation, Lauren, I also have these things we nabbed off the ship if you want to scry on either of them at any point, or give it a shot at least.
Oh, I feel like Lauren's gonna pull out her big giant idol. Be like, I got this one from Lost Rog. I'm good.
Nice. Okay, well, having an object makes it makes it harder for them to save, I think.
Oh no, she has an object of Lost Rogs.
Oh, she has one. Okay. Well, I've got one for the wizard
why
too
she-
now. If Lasharog blocks you.
Out the idol of the Leviathan.
I wonder if there's only one way in. That'd be pretty funny.
I'll be curious to see if there's anything we can do to intervene with whatever this process is. We can stop this in its tracks. Could be a big deal.
Well, onwards and downwards?
I guess so.
Onwards and downwards. I think
Or hey, maybe this is the best downward spiral we've ever had.
I hope we don't start to spiral.
as the ship continues to sink deeper and deeper, you can hear the hull slowly creaking as the pressure builds. You can feel that same awful electric energy growing with the pressure. Every part of you, within an hour, feels on edge. Through this light, it's impossible to make out any sense of depth or distance. It's just red. in every direction. And it's hard to shake the feeling that there is something on the other side of this. Something you can't see, but that has its eyes fixed on you. As the hours pass, it occurs to you how incredibly far out you all are from anything resembling home or friendship. I see your way at.
Sorry. No, I didn't want to interrupt, so are we, out of character, are we going to have to worry about pressure things?
The ship is holding up, and you guys did test it to a decent depth, so it
Well, because I'm assuming that we're not going to try and go into a temple while in the ship.
Oh, you mean when we go swimming?
Yeah.
Yeah. I've been thinking about that too. I think Lauren's...
That's why I'm asking, because if the answer is yes, I also have a Cloak of the Manta Ray that I would like to attune to, because I'm assuming that'll help protect against pressure. But if the answer is no, then I'm not going to worry about that.
That is fair. Yeah, I mean, if you want to attune to it.
That doesn't answer my question.
Not the question.
Does
the magic work on
because
the
we
fact that we're
did
going...
do a test with this ship, so
I mean, you know the ship. You know the ship will hold up to pretty significant underwater pressure.
But will I?
No.
Will a person alone, unabated in the depth? No, probably not. Not safe.
Okay.
Does our cloak help with that?
I would assume the cloak.
I mean, it doesn't say it does.
It doesn't say that.
But I'm pretty sure that they didn't take into account high water pressures whenever they designed this system.
That's true. The Tritons are the only ones necessarily that have this. You know, you are adjusted to life in the deepest depths of the ocean. So you know that could be something to maybe check your spellbook for if you're worried about swimming around.
Would this not be something we would have considered a month ago?
We did, whenever we were testing this ship.
I figured we were just going to hand wave water pressure.
Realistically, it would probably be a problem. Let's keep moving.
No. Let's back up a month. Let's get this all. Let's go. We got 5 magic items we need to commission.
Yeah.
No, yeah, I want to double check before, because as I said, if I need to attune to the Cloak of the Manta Ray, I want to do that. I just didn't know
if you want to attune to the cloak, go for it. We'll say it'll suffice for that purpose. Even if it doesn't necessarily say it.
Okay.
I want to keep moving.
Well, because it's a big decision, because I either do my AC or the swim speed.
I think the cloak is going to be better for this. Because unless you have a native swim speed, you're going to be moving real slow in combat.
Oh, that's a good point. I can reattune to my necklace.
That's the thing, because I'm already attuned to a necklace of adaptation for breathing purposes. Mm-hmm. So I've never been a very mobile character.
Yeah, but
I'm kind of used to it, but
because if we're swimming, isn't it half movement if you don't have swim speed? So you'd be going 15 feet per turn.
So would most of the people who are not Tritons?
I mean, I doubt that Lasharog is gonna be moving 15 feet a turn.
Well, no, I know, but Lasharog is one guy versus other people in his party. I don't know how many of them.
I don't know. I feel like they've been planning for this for a while. I feel like this is something they would have accounted for.
Okay, fine. I'll miss you, 22 AC. You're now 21 AC.
Poor child. I'm going to die.
So, over the following hours, your vessel continues its descent. The visual outside the window of the bridge does not change until late into the day. One of the wardens will kind of send a call through the intercom on the ship saying, I think there's something down there. I can see a dark spot. And to kind of better facilitate a view, the ship will kind of tilt and angle so you can get a better look down below. And you can all see, faint at first, but slowly growing as the ship continues, a distant shadow. It looks as though this red light seems to be, if it's even possible, even more intense, even brighter in the vicinity of this shadow. And yet, it seems to be coming from within, whatever this thing is. And as you draw closer, you begin to see these long lines of dark kind of cast out from spires, minarets, sunken turrets, and stonework. Sure enough, there is some kind of ruin complex down here on the ocean floor. And the thing that really hits you is just how long it takes to reach this thing even after catching sight of it. Because it just doesn't stop growing. Bigger and bigger and bigger. You can make out a sizable central tower. You can see walkways kind of encircling, suspended in the air, or I guess the water in this case now, kind of wrapping around it and these sort of peripheral towers that are kind of rising up in sort of an inner wall around it, and then a second wall around those, suspended by yet more towers. It's unlike any structure you've ever seen. There's very clearly something intentional about this place. There's a reason for its shape, and yet, for the life of you, at this distance, it's impossible to make out any real sense or reason to it. It's not practical in any means. But if it's the site of a gateway or summoning ritual or whatever's happening down here, could have something to do with it. But even so, you can't dispel that unease as this thing draws closer. In fact, a pit in all of your stomachs continues to grow until eventually the verdigris begins to draw level with the uppermost spire of this structure. And you can finally really see just how big this thing is. It is probably as large around as the verdigris is itself. Huge tower. And this thing probably extends down for another 600, 700, 800 feet, maybe even 1,000. Massive central tower. And the towers around it aren't substantially smaller. But here they sit at the bottom of the ocean, untouched for millennia, presumably. And now they are all bathed in the same blinding, eerie red light. I would say Noelle and Lauren, with your incredible passive perceptions, there are a couple of other details that would jump out at you as you're taking this all in, as the verdigris is kind of drawing level with this structure. The first thing is that now that you're close, you can make out some modicum of detail through this red light. Thanks to the shadows that it's kind of casting. You can see engravings on the surface of this structure. There's a lot of them. It seems like every available inch of this thing's surface has been touched by an artisan. There is a lot of detail engraved into this thing, and it seems to be predominantly geometric patterns and some manner of inscription, although it's hard to say what it says exactly. The other thing you would notice, just barely visible through the haze of red, at the base of the tower, the base of all the towers, there's movement down there. There's a lot of movement, actually. And the more you look, the more you realize that there are occasionally these small clusters of bubbles that kind of wash up past the windshield, just barely visible in that blinding red haze. And every now and then, you can make out distant silhouettes of jagged spines. And as you strain your ears through the creaking of the hull, the rumble of the water, you can make out the sounds of this unearthly, bone-chilling sound, this creature that you recall encountering once before, months back on Freeport. Alone, then. But now you hear a multitude. You're not sure how many of these spawn are down there, but there's a lot. I think you'd wager the verdigris on its own. Maybe you could take one. Probably can't take this many. Doesn't look as though they've reacted to your presence at all. Whatever they're doing down there seems to have completely preoccupied them. They don't pay you any heed. But they are there. You can very faintly see them. You can hear them. Every now and then you can feel kind of a ripple of water current as they shift down below. And that shift causes the ship itself to lurch ever so slightly in the water. You are real deep in it now.
Literally.
So what are you doing?
A great question.
Fish.
Pardon me now!
Please don't catch me.
I'm struggling a little bit to imagine this situation. So we see a large tower at the core of the red light.
Mm-hmm.
One large tower?
There is one tower, and then there are some kind of peripheral towers surrounding it that are connected by, flying buttresses and walkways. There's these kind of arcing paths that kind of connect them all, almost like an encircling wall.
And these are on the base of the ocean floor?
Yep.
And the Leviathan babies are
Kind of
around
the
it?
base of
Are they
Yep.
just like swimming like Gyarados, or are they like poking their heads out? Like, Like bobbit worms or
It's
Diglett,
hard
keep the
to
Pokemon
say-
metaphors.
It's hard to say between the distance and again, you have this haze of just like blinding red light that just suffuses your surroundings. You're kind of going off of shadows that are being cast by these things, like these long, kind of dark lines, and then the distant, kind of hazy silhouettes. They are. It looks like they're kind of massed on the ocean floor, just clustered all around the base of the towers. There looks to be some kind of movement down there, but it's hard to say what exactly they're doing.
Sure. Can we see the
And-
top of the tower?
You can. You would have drawn level with it as the ship kind of sank down to kind of draw level with it. The top of the tower is this kind of open, not open. It's a dome for starters, and there is an opening in the center of the dome through which probably the reddest of the red is visible, if that's even possible to really perceive at this point.
Right.
But there is red light also shining out of windows and these huge towering pathways, or not pathways, but like archways that kind of open into kind of the upper level of this structure that you can see. You can see what looks like staircases that kind of wrap around the exterior of this thing. Many of these paths have kind of crumbled and eroded over time, it looks like. But it looks as though this upper section, which does kind of open out into the water, was at one point accessible via these stairs from the ground. That's not really a concern at this point, considering it is underwater.
How tall could we estimate this shaft is, base to tip?
You'd guess about 1,000 feet.
We're adults.
I'm sorry. He's just like, oh, the top is like rounded and just like shooting this thing out.
It might need to consult a doctor.
That's a lot of red. Okay, well, trying to think realistically here. If there's any chance we are going to get near this thing, we're gonna have to do it sneakily. I don't know how possible that even would be, but we can keep the verdigris pretty far away from these sea urchin things, it looks like, and they don't notice that.
I mean, Lauren has free pass without a trace, so...
This would definitely be a pass without a trace situation.
Okay, I have a dumb question for Plet.
Mm-hmm.
So, eons ago, you gave Burberry a free casting of invisibility.
I do recall, yeah, the charm.
Could I upcast the freebie using the Medranian stone?
Ooh.
That's why I needed to ask! Because it's not technically my spell, but I am casting it.
That is a question.
I'm sorry.
What is the charm called that you have?
The charm of the wayward one?
That's what it was, okay.
It is in my... I think I put it somewhere weird. I put it in my magic items list.
Did your magic items? Okay. Charges. And then you have the Medranian Stone. Stones charge in place that requires spell slot if you do. No, so that uses You use the stone's charge in place of the spell slot that's being expended, and the charm uses charges.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you. I was like, this seems complicated. I should probably ask.
In case I didn't say it earlier, David Snowell would give you back your Toroid amulet. I forgot to address that, but you got it.
Oh, thank you.
Hours ago, you would have had it, so you could reattune to it.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Are we certain we're not going to just like burn to a crisp if we get out of the sub right now?
I would say, you know what? I'll say, give me a perception check.
Okay, doke. $17.
17. I would say, kind of pressing your hand to the glass, pressing, like kind of testing the hole. Doesn't feel hot. Although you do feel this faint kind of tingling sensation as
you
draw
mentioned that.
closer to the water. Yeah. It's extremely unpleasant feeling. Like it more makes you nauseous than it hurts.
Oh, well, I have pills for that.
Oh, that's something. I'd say you're pretty sure you're not going to be immediately killed by this.
Great.
Reasonably
That's the most
confident.
reassuring thing I've ever heard. Pretty sure we won't immediately be killed.
I mean, that sounds good to me.
I mean, I feel like, given we have a head start, we should probably just at least look, head down this staircase and see what we see as quietly as we possibly can to not alert those worms.
Yeah, and to reiterate the structure here, so you have the tower, right? There is what looks like a large chamber. Yeah. At the top of the tower that is, capped by this dome.
Right.
There's a spiral staircase that kind of runs around the exterior of the tower up to that top chamber. At the base of the tower, you have all of these spawns, and surrounding that central tower, you have a kind of a ring of these smaller towers, all interconnected by.
I mean, we can look in the top floor, but I feel like it's just gonna be all red.
I'm just reading the structure.
I'm thinking
you guys know where your
the
directions
exterior
are.
stairwell down to see what we see.
Okay.
Get a full view of this shaft.
Okay.
That's Noel's pitch. We got time. Might as well make use of it.
Sounds good.
So
Why are y'all staring at each other with significance?
I'm just looking at her screen like that's not D&D. Sorry.
Got stuff to do.
You're not D&D.
I am D&D.
Oh god, it's Willem. He's down here too.
The ghost of Willem's past.
Low key though.
Yeah, in a way, Willem's with all of us.
I was about to say, you know what?
Well, grimy.
I need you to surprise me with what's yet to come.
With what now?
Well, we've had Willem's past. Back then, he was Willem's present.
Willem's
we need a
yet
Willem's
to come.
yet to
That's
come.
what you said. Got it.
And no, that wasn't a dick joke.
It easily could have been.
It could have been, but I didn't intend it to.
Could have been.
Willem has yet to come.
Okay.
Now,
So, what are you guys doing?
if Lauren's got past without a trace, let's see how far that gets us. And prepare ourselves to exit the ship into the red hell.
Yep.
As the Lost are multi-symbol in the airlock, Lauren casts Pass Without a Trace.
Put up on the cloaks for the Noels.
Adlar will cast Water Breathing on everyone just to double up and be safe. And everyone has some means of swimming down here.
Yep.
You would seal the interior door of the airlock, open the exterior latch, and as you do, that blinding red just into the chamber, kind of this almost like a solid beam of red light shoots up through the water into the room around you and just starts bathing you all in it. And it is... it's a skin-crawling sensation. Nothing about this feels okay. There is all the foreboding in the world suddenly washing over you as this chamber fills with that light. But sealing yourselves, one by one, you drop into the water and you begin to swim.
Start on the top floor. See what we see.
Okay.
The red sunglasses.
Cool.
Swimming into the opening, one of these large arches, you find yourselves in a very, very high-ceilinged chamber. You are kind of floating above the floor of a hallway. It's about 60, 70 feet long, about 40 feet wide. Towering columns kind of line the central walkway, holding the roof up. Miraculously all still intact. You can see similar sorts of hallways on the far end of this chamber, as well as sort of converging to the left and right at the center of the chamber. The center of which is a large kind of circular opening area. Immediately catching your eye, mirroring the opening in the roof, there is a very sizable circular pit in the center of this chamber. And that red light is blasting out of that hole. The edge of this pit is lined with one of the few bits of any other color that you can see in this chamber. These very dim blue lights, concentric circles lined with runes, surround this pit. You can see statues in this chamber that line the hallways. There are these large four-legged kind of guardian figures, very heavily eroded, but still very, very massive, very impressive statues, kind of lining the hallway. You can see in alcoves, kind of in the four corners of the circular central chamber, carved, hooded figures, kind of heads bowed, very priest-like, easily 30 or 40 feet tall. Each of them flanked by, smaller attendants. You can kind of faintly make out through this blasting red haze. On the far side of the pit, there looks to be like a stone slab of some kind, not too far from the edge.
Yeah.
Bless you.
Excuse me.
Right, you heard that. Small, very tiny retcon, but could we have a telepathic bond up through this expedition?
Yeah.
And this room is like a very tall room.
Very tall.
At the top of the tower.
At the very top of the tower, yeah.
Is there a way down out of this room, like a staircase down from the inside?
So there are two ways down, basically. Like, you can see the pit in the middle of the floor, in the center of the chamber, and you can see there are some archways that kind of open onto, kind of balcony landings or on the exterior of the tower that are connected to those external stairways that kind of spiral around down to the base.
But there's no way inside to go down, except unless you want to go through the donut.
Unless you want to go through the donut hole
Got
in the
it.
floor. And that's where all that red light is coming from.
Yeah, that's probably... you said this place is covered in runes and stuff, right? Like carvings?
There's a lot of carvings running up and down the walls here.
Just for the sake of exploring that, could I use my once a day free comprehend languages and just run my hand along some of the walls and see what it says?
Sure, yeah. With a comprehend language up, you would know for sure that what you're running your hands over is definitely some kind of ancient magical glyph work. You are not able to comprehend it with comprehend languages, but that fact alone is telling enough for you to make that conclusion that this is almost definitely magic that has been carved into this thing. And as you're kind of running your hand over more and more of the tower, you're realizing none of this is making sense. This entire tower feels as though it has been carved with spell work. And this tower is big.
Oh, we saw. Well, I say we follow the exterior staircases down. I mean, there are like blue runes in here, but there's nothing that's like... I'm not seeing anything obvious to fuck with in here. If there's even an option to try that, so...
I mean, you want to keep poking around? You want to make an investigation check or something? Or do you want to move on to a different...
Sure, I mean, for the sake of thoroughness, yeah. I'll investigate. I assume several of us will. I'll roll for... I'll have Noelle and Snow each take a look around a different area.
Anybody else?
Can Lauren try to just cover the red light?
Cover it?
Just
Yeah.
put like a parachute over it.
Yeah,
I didn't roll great, unfortunately. 14 and 18.
The pit is probably about 60 feet across as well.
Oh.
It's a
okay.
big fucking pit in the
Does
center
anyone
of
have
this
a
chamber.
giant cork?
You could turn into a whale. I don't think that's big
So
enough.
flew. Sacrifice yourself.
Plug the hole.
We
So
just
what was that?
clog it. Snow got a 14, Noelle got an 18.
14 and 18? Okay. I would say the more you swim around in here, kind of passing through the shadows of the pillars, the more your eyes begin to kind of adjust to this red, the more you're kind of able to kind of make out more of this interior space. If not purely visually, at least intuitively. With an 18... Yeah, I think you'd be kind of checking the hallways. You'd be kind of, looking at the altar. Kind of doing a circuit around this oculus. That was the word I was looking for, in the center of the chamber. Giving it a wide berth. And outside of the very, very deeply uneasy feeling you're getting from the light shining up out of that hole. As you're sort of finishing your circuit, you would see, kind of coming around to the other side of a pillar, angle that you wouldn't have been able to see from where you came in. Something that I think would make your stomach kind of jump into your throat. Just kind of wafting in the current. Pinned against the pillar by a skeleton in very worn, ragged leathers. There is a white, you're pretty sure it was white, cloak with a barely perceptible tree emblazoned on it.
I think Noelle would probably piece that together. And she would look for a moment. And then Aloran would hear in her head, "Come over to this pillar. I think you need to see this."
I don't wanna.
I knew it was either going to be something really bad, or I was just going to find an off switch, which would have been great. Oh, it's just a big light switch.
We'll find Noelle and swim towards her.
Gesture to the skeleton.
And yeah, you would see this skeleton, definitely a skeleton dressed in what you would definitely recognize as Warden's leathers. Appears to be tied by just like a single loop of rope to this column. And this Warden's cloak is just kind of fluttering in the water, just loosely next to it.
She doesn't recognize anything on the body.
You get closer?
Yeah. Lauren's no chicken, but Johnny is.
As you draw closer, looking over it, you see kind of the rotted sheath for a dagger. You see laying on the ground next to this skeleton, the dagger in question. Both of which you recognize. The cloak itself, as you draw closer, you can see bears the embellishments along the hem, indicating the rank of a conservator. In the face of this skeleton, while it doesn't look like anything like the man you knew, you can still imagine the high cheekbones, strong jaw, the kind gaze that once looked back at you from those eye sockets, now empty. Weirdly, with your perception being what it is, you would definitely pick up the fact that this thing, the skeleton, tied to this pillar, the rope is affixed under the arms. And the knot is not too terribly far off from the body.
you saying he willingly just like tied himself to a pillar and died?
Kind of seems like that. Could have escaped this. But he didn't for some reason.
I think Lauren would definitely hear like a kind of a gasp, and then she'd be very quiet. It's like, I'm looking at my spells. 1 second.
While she's doing that, is there anything noteworthy on this pillar that we may, now that I have a reason to be interested in it? Anything else that I overlooked or could see now that I'm taking a moment?
Yeah, an investigation check, sure.
A lot better. 27.
27.
I'll also take this opportunity to just kind of look closer at the body and see what's around there, too.
Yeah. Looking at the pillar, you can see gouge marks in the stone. A lot of them. It looks as though there had been something chipping away at the base of the pillar and creating what looks like almost like an outline for a human body. And around this outline, particularly around the head, there are a handful of somewhat crudely carved runic symbols that were scratched into the stone here. With comprehend language up, running your hand over these are also, you can tell, intended to be magical glyphs of some sort. Looking at the body, you don't see much of anything left on the body as far as flesh goes. It's really just the skeleton at this point, and you know, the clothes and metal adornments, and the cloak somehow survived. But you don't see too much in the way of noteworthy damage. There's what looks like the signs of like old breaks that have healed over visible on the arms and legs, you know, but nothing recent, nothing that looks as though it was life-threatening here.
I mean, is Lauren doing anything at this point?
She would cut her dad down for sure.
Okay.
And she's gonna cast a 5th level spell.
Before you do that, as you cut the rope and lower the skeleton to the ground, As soon as you take the bones in hand, you feel this sudden rush. And you hear a voice. Distant and pained and surprised.
Warden. Warden.
Dad? Where are you? She's being way more dramatic. Dad? Dad, where are you?
Lauren's giving an Oscar-worthy performance right now.
Yep. She's giving an Oscar-worthy. Dad, no! Wait, how are you talking?
Father!
Father! No!
Bones are rattling in the water as the Lord shakes. You hear this voice, and as you answer it, you feel this kind of presence behind you. Something there. And you look to the edge of the pits. You see that circle of blue runes. And you see them begin to kind of warble and ripple. And you watch as a hand, but the same bluish light, kind of pushes up out of them, takes hold of the stone, and pulls this glowing spectral silhouette partially up from the magic circle there.
She will gently put down her father's body and go over there.
It's not far. It's pretty close.
Okay.
And I mean, it's looking at it, even though it can't seem to pull itself fully up out. It's kind of holding itself up by the elbows, up under the arms, almost like it's climbed up to an edge and is clinging. You can very clearly make out this kind of spectral face. What looks like Volos looking back at you.
Well, probably like on her knees trying to touch the ghost to help him up.
I think you try and grab it, and I mean your hand kind of pass through this light. You can feel this tingling as you do. It's actually the only bit of like pleasant warmth down here in the cold, and this horrible uneasy red. Volos's form is cool, soothing, pleasant, much like he had been in life, and yet your fingers pass through it, unable to take a grip. And you hear his voice again as he struggles to get words out.
What are you doing here?
I feel like she's like, oh my god, I found you. I'm gonna get you out of here somehow.
No. No. You
No?
shouldn't be here.
Well, we're waiting for Lost Shrog so we can kill him. But,
Who? What?
the whole cult leader trying to bring back the Leviathan in the end of the world?
Cult? What?
A lot's happened. It's been a decade or more now.
You see this specter kind of fizzle slightly, kind of struggling to maintain its shape. Volos kind of shakes his head And he looks back to you and says, I prayed you would never have to see this, to see any of this. I thought I would be enough, but that was foolish.
Enough? What do you mean enough?
I thought I could stall it, at least.
Stall it?
This place is a seal. Whatever's down there has been kept in for God knows how long. But it's breaking.
How do you keep the seal?
I thought I could help. I thought I could.
No, you did help. Don't say you didn't. You helped.
I thought I could close it. I just thought some time, I suppose. I bound myself to it. I thought maybe that would be enough. Gods, I wish I could have reached Alexei. I tried, but I couldn't reach him. And
What do you need to tell him? I can have someone talk to him.
this place is evil, Lauren.
Oh, I know.
Real, true evil. It cut us off. It cut me off from everyone. I couldn't reach anyone. I couldn't get back. But everything that I saw here, I couldn't in good conscience just swim away. Not knowing if I could get out. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
Don't apologize. It's okay.
Can all of us hear this, or is this just a?
You can all see and hear this.
Just out of curiosity, given that I saw some of the runes that presumably were specifically carved for whatever's going on, yeah, Noelle is a reasonably proficient in magic. Would I recognize, even if it's like spiritual magic, illusion magic, you know, some kind of contacting planar magic, so just something familiar about what's being cast here, what happened?
Are you looking at the runes around the skeleton?
Yeah, the ones that he would have chipped into the stone.
I'll say give me an Arcana check.
So how did you bind yourself to this?
Terrible. 8.
Like, is your soul bound to it, or is it your... What part is bound to this?
I'm assuming soul.
Yes. With an 8, Noelle, you're having a hard time really parsing exactly what it is that he was trying to do here. Like, there's clearly some measure of intent, but what exactly and how? Unclear.
I would also like to look at it, since that's part of the reason I was asking.
Yeah, give me an Arcana check.
25.
That's so
Okay.
much better than mine, thank you.
It's almost like I've done something similar recently.
Burberry, looking over these carvings and kind of searching your memory, you actually recognize a couple of these symbols. You recall seeing them in the Conclave not too terribly long ago, when your party projected themselves into your soul. You are fairly certain that whatever Volos did here had something to do with manipulating the soul in some capacity. Although, with a 25, I'd say, looking at it, there's definitely a significant lack of kind of supporting arcana here. Like, the runes on this stone would not be enough to perform whatever this was. You don't know what exactly it is, but you're very certain. There's no way he did it with just like 5 marks and a couple circles. The remainder had to have gone somewhere.
So it's like he was trying to power the spell with not enough juice.
Well, it looks as though, you know,
there's more going on here than we can see.
Yeah.
Those marks aren't the end of the story.
Yeah, the marks on the stone would not have been all of it. There would have been more, but you don't see where they would have been.
All right, so I'm gonna go out on a crazy limb here, and if you bound yourself to this, I'm guessing either A, you don't want to be pulled off of it, or you can't be pulled off of it. Also, hi, party cleric.
Conclave. Good. But not good that you shouldn't have come. None of you should have come down here.
Well, there's a guy coming to release the seal, so.
We're trying to avoid that happening, so
Yes.
we're trying to figure out how they might try to release it so we can stop that from happening. Because I'd rather not have the world taken over by a giant angry and spikes, thank you.
Seal is weakening of its own accord. I don't know that there's anything anyone could do to hasten it beyond
Waiting.
dropping the towers themselves. I think this whole place was built as one giant seal.
Oh, that's very smart. Like, ignore morbid Burberry in the corner.
Wait, Burberry, this is it. Your mending spell. We can meticulously fix every crack in these towers.
I mean, I don't know about fixing it. There's more here than this, and if we were to try to do anything like re-up it, it would require a lot of extra carving and probably a large amount of magic. A lot of people.
Probably some pretty serious fabrication magic from a lot of very powerful wizards. You're right. Damn, mending useless once again.
If 1,000 people cast the cantrip mending at the same time.
I think.
He did not answer my question about his soul being bound to it, or like if he's not willing to or unable to be disconnected.
I think he would kind of strain to answer that, and I think that he would not be able to give you a very definitive one. He would say, I can't unbind myself, nor would I. I thought I could help hold this place closed, but I don't think I knew enough.
Okay. Roll Arcana question. So if this were to break, worst case scenario, would his soul be destroyed or would his soul be freed?
Give me another Arcana check.
22.
22. I mean, you're very certain that you do not have the full spell process in front of you. You're working with partial information for starters. As you're looking at the kind of glyphs of this glowing perimeter, trying to get a sense of like how does this thing work.
I think Burberry's just shuffling in a circle, like not even looking up, asking questions.
The circle that is sort of the spell circle that is encircling the oculus through which all this red light is pouring. This spell circle seems to be kind of the central manifestation of all the spell work of this facility. Like you can tell that everything that's going on everywhere else in these towers is all being channeled up to this point. This seems to be kind of the locus of the spell, right? And to the best of your ability to kind of muddle through what you're seeing here, not really being familiar, because this is ancient magical language, like totally foreign magical practice. Just trying to make sense of what Volos carved and what you're seeing this place do and what he's telling you. It seems as though he kind of tried to like tie himself into the seal somehow, kind of make himself a part of the tower's magic in some capacity. It's hard to say what would happen if this thing broke. It's possible that he could be extricated from it if it was done carefully, but I think if this were to violently snap, shall we say, there's
use a scalpel, not a hammer.
There, yeah.
Interesting.
Okay, so you said that this is like the central like area of how this spell works, right?
Yeah, all of the magic of this place seems to be converging at this oculus, at this magic circle, these glowing blue rooms.
Okay. So Burberry is trying to think of ways to either like how, because Burberry has done some weird shenanigans in the last couple of months. He's probably trying to think of how one would pull a soul out using the soul glyphs that he has seen, and what that would mean for the stability of the spell. Because if this thing is on a timer already, with him coming to try and, I assume, break towers, or otherwise mess up the runes. Like, whenever you go, oh yeah, no, the world is ending, our doom is coming, and you're like, oh, so I should prepare the next week or so. They're like, no, it's gonna be so 50 years! Like, yeah, like, so if I were to pull his soul out of this rune, how quickly would the spell deteriorate after that?
I would say you, just given what, like you said, given what you've been doing over the past couple of months, especially in your own personal life, and
don't worry about it.
Yeah.
No, nobody else knows about that.
Off of that 22. I would say you would hazard a guess that Volos' soul is probably not like the linchpin of this seal. It looks like he kind of, it looks like he improvised something. Like this setup that he has on the rock, what little there is there, does not look like any kind of formal spell or rite that you are familiar with. It definitely looks like an attempt to make something up on the spot. And
if I were to,
but it doesn't look like it's like an integral part of this.
He just added some duct tape, basically.
Yeah.
I was gonna say if I was gonna equate it to a real life thing, that ad of the guy slapping tape on the glass thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And,
Or it would be the
to
equivalent
his
of
credit, the notion
nail
of
in a
using the
tire.
soul as duct tape was definitely like, okay, yeah, I mean, that's a very
It just
complicated,
shows the scale we're working at.
sturdy object. Like, it's souls are strong. They're very, very hard to destroy. But it's probably not, the load-bearing piece of this seal. Not at the moment.
I would, just to move this scene, I mean, to let Lauren continue talking to her dad, I think Noelle would also introduce herself and just say, Volos, I am a friend of Lauren's. I have a question. How are you speaking to us right now?
Oh yes, that is very cool. Maybe it's this glyph right here.
I don't know. The Spectre looks apologetic. But I felt her.
Oh wait, you've tied yourself into the spell, right? Does that mean that you have an awareness of everywhere that the spell exists?
The towers, this place. It all works as one giant seal.
Well, no, I know, but you said that you sensed Aloran, so can you sense the little baby leviathans that are hanging out around the edge of your seal?
The what?
Never mind.
So he's a part of this tower now, it almost sounds like.
Well, that's what I was trying to glean, because, like, depending on, like... Okay, I'm sorry. My brain is thinking of this as, like, the middle of the spider web, so, like, if anything touches, he would be aware of it in the middle. He can't do anything about it, because he's the spider web, but I'm curious if he has that, like, sense of what's going on wherever the seal is.
I feel it wearing away. I've felt it grow weaker as the days have passed. And this light has grown. And not too long ago, something shifted, and this light began to pour out. And that's been growing ever since. You shouldn't have come here. And as you all are kind of taking this in, you feel a very faint tremor kind of shaking up through the tower. After a few seconds, it settles.
Did you have more you wanted to say to Volos, Lauren?
I forgot where I left off talking to him. I think she'd probably just be... I think she'd just be talking to him, I think.
What about?
How she's missed him and stuff. I feel like I never thought I'd get to hear your voice again, you know.
I hoped you'd never have to.
Well,
After this.
if we weren't here, the whole world would die, so...
Where's your mother?
She is safe.
Good. You should get far from the ocean. Go off plane if you can.
I'm a little too, really gotta kill Lost Shirag. You know, if that's the last thing I do in life, it'll be great.
She very much has vengeance on the brain.
I have much vengeance upon that man.
I've never heard of this La Shirag, but
He's a follower of what you're trying to keep contained.
He's a fool.
Yeah, he's a fucking dipshit.
We have some things we agree on.
But he's coming here literally right now on his way to come open all this stuff and release the Leviathan. That's what it's called, by the way. It's called the Leviathan. Sure, you probably figured that out, but...
I don't know its name, but I can feel it down below.
Well, his name's the Leviathan.
I would like to try, by the way.
What would you like to try, Burberry?
After, I don't want to interrupt.
Okay, all right.
Please.
Well,
I'm letting you know it advance because
if you're gonna try to let him out, I feel like Alorn's gonna try to distract him and then pull Adlarbin and be like, "Oh, I got married."
So no, I'm not going to try and pull him out.
What?
I am not going to try and pull him out.
Okay, that's fine.
Yes.
But I think she'll just be kind of like talking and catching up with him and stuff.
Yeah.
Introduce him to Adlar, you know.
I think you can tell it is a strain for him to hold himself up like this. Like he is like pushing himself up out of the magic of these runes. And you can kind of hear as the conversation goes on, like it is tiring. However, a soul can get tired. His voice does grow weaker, and he does seem to kind of slip and catch himself more often than not.
At some point, I would want to interject a small question of just, when he said he couldn't contact anyone, if you come into this tower, can you not leave it for some reason? Or did he just, like, are we cut off from the outside world now? By coming here, is that why we shouldn't have come? Because he said he tried to get a hold of Lexi and he literally could not.
I don't know. This thing, whatever it is, it's here, and this is its realm, its domain is growing as the seal weakens. I couldn't reach the others, I couldn't reach the wardens, and I didn't know if I could get out. And I made a gamble. Stay and do something I knew I could do. I could try, or hope would work, rather than try to leave and find myself trapped or dead, having done nothing.
I see. I'm sorry you were put into that position to make a choice like that.
I think the Lorne will pull out a sending stone and just be like, "Yo, Sandy, can you hear me?"
You have a sending stone as Sandy?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Well, she got the sending stone when we went to get the robots.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Do not hear a response.
Oh, that sucks.
Sandy's dead.
Yeah, we can't talk to anybody.
While we're in here.
Yep.
Did we park the sub on the inside of the death barrier or the outside of it?
I assumed you parked next to the tower.
Yeah, that's true. So we're in the beam? Or no?
You're not in the beam, but you the beam is shooting up out of the Oculus. The light of it is just it's like filling the space. Yeah.
Okay, so we're not in the red. It's everywhere because it's so bright.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. This is awful. I don't want to ruin the reunion, but we have to kill Ashrag before he even gets close to this.
Yeah.
If we want any chance of keeping these towers up, we can't let him get anywhere near here.
Here, let me see if he's even close. And Lauren will she'll use her last 5th level spell and cast Commune with the Nature and try to find Lasharog if he's within a 3 mile.
Commune with nature.
I doubt he is, but yeah, go for it.
Well, just in case. He's closer than we think he is.
As you cast Commune, you'll watch as you step away as your father's specter kind of recedes into the glyphs. You can see there's kind of like a node of light just barely protruding out. You can tell there's still a presence there, but he's almost like he's resting. And you reach out with this particular ritual. It is devoid of natural life here. This place and the surrounding sea is dead. There is nothing around here. There is no sea life. There is no plant life. It's horribly, horribly empty. The only thing that you can sense is a cluster of these massive spawn writhing around at the base of the towers. And further below them, something else. Something massive and terrible. But no sign of Lasharog.
Great. Okay.
Okay, good news.
Great news.
I'm curious if these Leviathan spawns are, in service of their namesake. Why haven't they just destroyed all these towers?
I was kind of wondering that myself.
It might be that they're a little bit aimless until they're directed, and it might be because they are trying to do it all at once, or maybe the towers are just very strong and it takes a while.
Maybe part of the barrier is that they can't get close to it.
That would be a really, really big protection spell.
This whole
Granted,
tower
this is a really, really big spell.
This whole tower is the spell. They could have added a clause somewhere on the 12th floor.
You go to the basement and there's just a base asterisk and one.
P.S. No worms.
Well, it also might be one of the. Okay, question from past baby Leviathan. So the past baby Leviathan was an aberration?
I don't recall it. I don't think it was an aberration. I think it was a fiend.
Fiend. Okay. It is also possible that it is holy ground of some kind, so extra planar things can't actually get in.
Yeah, that is a thought.
Because that would seem like a very good move if you're trying to use a plug to stop an extra dimensional being from getting anywhere. Make it so it can't pass through the area.
It's funny, I feel like learning all that we have in just this last hour, or however long it's been, has reframed.
Minutes.
Yeah, maybe 10 minutes, but it's reframed my opinion on Lasharog. I thought he was orchestrating all of this. and like setting it into motion. But it kind of seems like he's just the guy who's in charge when shit's hitting the fan. Yeah, he's just. I mean, he wants to kick it off, but this would have happened whether it was La Shirog in charge or any other person.
Can I spend, because this is, I'm assuming that since we're inside the spell, do we have to worry about sneaking around baby Leviathans?
We don't know.
Okay, well, in that case, I would like to spend however much next time that I have probably trying to look at as much of this spell that I can within reason.
Okay.
To try and see, like, how one might fix it, or, basically I want to figure out how this spell works so that I can figure out how to possibly either fix it or stop it from being broken.
Okay. I'll say give me another Arcana check then.
Take a Bardic Inspiration.
Thank you. What's that now?
D10.
D10? 28.
Wait. Okay. So Burberry is going to be at
murdering
that.
on these Arcana checks, by the way.
Burberry's going to be at it for a little bit. Is there anything anybody's doing in the interim before he concludes his investigation? Because that is a chunk of time Burberry's going to have to invest in this to really get a sense of what's happening.
I think Lauren would inspect, like, her dad's makeshift thing to see if she can figure out what he did.
Okay, give me another Arcana check.
If the ship is nearby, I might go back to it to try and see if I can contact people from there, like with sending and stuff.
Get onto the ship and cast sending?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. You'd be able to haul yourself back in. Getting out of the water definitely feels a lot better. Like, that uneasy, awful feeling is back to being just kind of a low-grade dread now, rather than just kind of being bathed in anxiety and horribleness. But
good,
you know, it's nice to be back.
I'll leave Snoelle with the gang, but Noelle's gonna go back and see if she can get in touch with someone.
Okay.
While they're out doing this stuff.
Lauren Arcana.
17.
17. No. Burberry would be able to kind of indicate to you the glyphs that he recognizes of the handful that your father carved, kind of indicating their purpose in terms of kind of like soul convocation among the conclave. And, you know, the particulars of it are a little beyond your keen, given your expertise as a warden rather than a priest, but you get enough out of it to kind of recognize, like, okay, this is part of some sort of soul connecting, soul invoking ritual. But yeah, you would also be able to notice, you know, as Burberry lays it out, that this is not nearly enough to do what Volo seems to have done. There had to have been more to it somewhere. Scrolls or paper or, you know, leather, something. There had to be glyphs somewhere for something like this to have been performed.
She's gonna look
and
around.
All that's
for
left
them.
is that skeleton.
Can she look around for them?
You're not seeing them.
Okay.
All that's left is the skeleton and a handful that were carved into the stone.
Well, Lauren is gonna go swim away and say she needs a moment.
Okay. Noelle, casting sending. Who are you sending to? And what are you saying?
Well, feels poetic to message Alexi. So, let's give it a shot.
What do you say?
Think about it while I mark the spell slot real quick. We've arrived. The ruins are a seal. Lashrog seeks to destroy it. We have to stop him. And if we don't fix the seal, the Leviathan is inevitable.
Stand in the airlock and cast this spell. Water dripping onto the steel at your feet. And wait. You don't hear a response.
Damn. Really good sending too.
That was.
Fortunate. Burberry. With a 28 in Arcana. Takes a little bit of swimming around, a little bit of doing. And it's not perfectly clear to you how this is all working. But over the course of your investigation, you are able to at least kind of make sense of the flow of power through this place, how it's being directed, where it's being pooled, where it's being distributed, how this spell is sort of functioning. And there are portions of it that you would recognize, kind of echoing more familiar, more modern spells. And you imagine, given the similarity in form, they likely have a similar function.
You have no idea how glad I waterproofed my spell book, because I am totally stuff down.
And with this, I think you are able to draw some conclusions. This place seems to be, as Volo said, a very, very, very large seal. But it doesn't seem to be a seal on a gateway or a creature or communication with some outer plane.
Is it just a really big, fancy, magical door?
Not even that. This seal looks as though it is pooling and circulating and channeling all of this, like a ton of magical energy. So much energy, in fact, that the only reasonable conclusion you can come to for why it's using this much is because it's blocking something even bigger. It is constraining access to a plane. And you keep coming back to this thought. There's more here than would be needed to seal a gateway. Like it's not just a portal. This can't just be a lock on a portal. It doesn't make any sense. There's too much here. And you just keep coming back to this horrible thought that this place was built to close off an actual plane, to keep anything inside from getting out. And you think back to those visions of the Red Star, of the obliteration of the dragon's lower kingdom, of that red light falling to earth and laying waste to everything. And the thought strikes you What if that hadn't been a star, but another world?
So this is going to sound weird, and if I am, wrong, feel free. But so you said that it's not something that blocks a gate or something like that, and the image that comes to mind is a ball of fire being contained by many different layers
Of what?
of aluminum foil. So like a thing that is destructive being held in by a lot of, like, it's basically being held in place because if it cracks anywhere, like, the whole thing will open.
So
that seems...
It's an apt visual, yeah. That's not a bad metaphor.
And that's why this light is breaking through, because the aluminum foil is getting hot enough that it's starting to melt, what have you,
crack. Yeah.
And the lights, the smoke.
Yeah, that's not a bad way to put it at all. That's
right.
pretty apt.
Okay, well, that's gonna...
Yeah, I think you'd be able to connect the dot that this red light is actually probably just raw, evil, planar energies seeping out around the seal.
Okay, that's not great.
It's the nausea.
Nausea? I'm gonna go with Burberry was so hyper fixated on this one problem that he didn't notice it. Now it's...
Oh,
that's
sick.
I was thinking that whatever was under there was bad, but I couldn't put my finger on why. Okay, second question, because 28 minutes. So this is an ancient magic that was carved, and whenever the last time this incursion happened, the dragons were active. Does this look like it could have been carved by a creature way bigger than me?
This does not look like Dracanic architecture at all.
Okay. Oh, so does this possibly predate dragons? Does this predate them?
This looks like it came after the dragons.
Okay.
Given the visual
from the dawn of time.
Given the vision you had, the Red Star hits Vergos, the dragon civilization collapses, and this new civilization kind of built up in their place.
Johnny,
powers
you might want to put your hand close to your camera and then pop it out. Because you're very out of focus.
What happened? There she
Thank
is.
you. I was about to say, Chani, you look like I took my contacts out. Okay. So basically, this spell is just old and probably
real fucking old. Yeah.
And probably the only way to fix it, lace it.
You cut out there.
The only way to fix it would be to replace it.
I mean, Volos fixed it, sort of.
He added one more piece of aluminum ball. Small one.
We all just have to sacrifice ourselves to fix it.
Then we really became the Lost Emerald. Never seen again.
Yep. I hope that's not the case. It feels like something that someone should have been more aware of. But it is out in the middle of nowhere.
It is out in the middle of nowhere. It has been millennia. Or not millennia, but, at least several hundred years. Also, the only race that can come down here points in Aloran's general direction. And there's not anything edible in the immediate, so it would be a need to come over here. That's like finding an ancient temple in Argentina.
It's a pretty terrible neighborhood, really. I don't know why anyone would come out here.
Does it look like Tritons crafted this?
Oh yeah, the neighbors are terrible.
No.
Points at the Leviathans.
Definitely not anything like Triton.
I mean, given
architecture.
that Burberry got that huge vision from Legend lore way back when, I mean,
Yeah,
what did come after the dragons?
So that era was the second era of Varagos' history, according to most historians. Not a lot is known about them because they were very methodically wiped out by the invaders who came after them.
Which was the space aliens.
Yes, those are the guys who built Crown Peak ruins from way back at the beginning of the campaign. Those guys appear to have worshipped this thing, whereas their predecessors, whom they wiped out, built this place to seal it away.
I'm glad the aliens didn't find this place.
I think Lauren would go back to her dad, where she last saw his little ghostly spectre.
Okay.
See if he pops back up or not.
You can still see the little node of light where he kind of receded back into the runes. He's near.
I feel like she'd ask him, be like, where did you go in these ruins that gave you some semblance of answers to be able to do what you did?
He'll kind of push back out with some effort and kind of throw an arm up kind of over the edge of the runes, hauling himself up to speak with you again. And very beleaguered, he will say to you, I spent weeks here trying to make sense of this place. It's out of rations. I couldn't do much but look around and to think back on my own training, my studies, conversations with Alexei, with the Conclave. I tried to see if I could make something that would work. I know souls are strong. I figured it would be better than any magic I could make myself.
Has he said what additional magic was used to do what he did? Because we keep seeing that these runes weren't enough.
Yeah, he hasn't said yet, no.
So what additional magic did you use?
I just know that we've had that repeated a few times, so I'm like, have we asked him this?
Well, I bound myself to the pillar there. I set the base of the ritual, and then I carved the rest of the spell into myself.
Into himself? Oh.
Wait, how did you make this spell?
It's a very kind of haphazard little grimace slash smile. He kind of shrugs, honestly. He's like, I just kind of threw stuff together until it worked. It hurt a lot.
Using your body as trial and error, yeah, that kind of sucks.
You'll see the specter kind of look back to the skeleton and be like, I suppose it wouldn't have lasted this long. Probably was quite a sight in the weeks afterwards, though. I really hope you're not thinking what I think you're thinking.
No, of course tie myself to a pillar and...
If it helps, I don't think that she'll be able to do it in the thinking, because she probably doesn't understand how half the sigils works. Walks around.
We can't
Kind of rude. You're calling me dumb.
I'm sorry, the reference point has long since died away, Lauren.
For what it's worth, I think that no. Trying to recreate.
I got words for you.
Trying to recreate what Volos did,
dude,
isn't going to help us if Lashrog shows up. That's the bottom line.
Oh yeah, I know.
We aren't fixing this tonight, and we have a day to prepare probably.
But yeah, no, I'm consoling her dad because he was probably thinking she was going to try and do the same thing.
I wouldn't do that until after I killed Lashrog, if that's any comfort to you. So
it's not.
He's still alive.
Lauren, you're married.
Yep, I would prefer you didn't bind yourself to an eternal seal on a dock.
Oh my god, Adler, we could do it together! Literally together
it's so
forever!
romantic!
How romantic, right?
It's not romantic.
You guys can
It
tie
is not
yourselves to the
romantic.
same pillar.
I'm with Burberry. There's got to be another way.
We'd be bound together.
Wait, did you read Romeo and Juliet and think that was a
Yeah, it's a great story.
Aspirational, really.
Burberry is gonna lean over to Adlar and go, "Are you sure you picked the right one?"
Yes, but just no pillar shit down here.
Yeah, the only pillar you should be interested in is an Adlar's pan.
No.
Well, that's what I was about to
I couldn't
say.
stop it in time.
But I guess I'm not allowed to talk about Adlar's pillar anymore, so...
Please
In
don't.
front of your dad, it's a little odd, but...
Or
yeah.
Barnaby.
Sorry, Dad.
Also, hello, Mr. Ogalath. It is a pleasure to meet you. I wish you were under better circumstances.
Don't we all?
I'm sorry, you just set it up for me so well.
Honestly, Wallace probably kind of chuckles at that, although he does slip back into the runes momentarily as his grip kind of slackens as he relaxes. Oh, shit! Pulls himself back up.
Well, I'll make you this promise. Lexi's gonna be here at some point.
Eventually.
Eventually. Currently dealing with a whole armada of ships.
I mean, let's be
Coming out
real,
here
that's
to-
probably done by now. That was
Yeah,
7
that's
hours
true.
ago.
Probably over. But so that means he's on his way probably, and if anyone's gonna figure out this, it would probably be him. Oh my god, he's gonna be just like a little kid at like a candy factory, just like geeking out.
I can confirm this. This is wildly fascinating.
He will. He'll geek out real hard.
Oh, maybe we can do this would be very interesting to look with a wizard and a cleric to hit both sides. Ooh.
Yeah, I'm sure you guys are gonna have a great time here. But just remember, the quicker you guys do it, the faster you'll free my father from internal imprisonment.
You know what?
Okay.
I'm glad that you have your priorities
No
straight
big
this
deal.
go round. Because I'm burning every copy of
You cut out. I didn't hear that last part.
I said, because I'm burning every copy of Romeo and Juliet later, I hope.
Oh, I don't actually like Romeo and Juliet.
Oh, thank God.
I just figured I'd fuck around and find out.
I think when Noelle learns that she can't sending, she would probably re-exit the sub and try to corral everyone. I mean, I know we don't want to abandon Volos, but I don't think he's going anywhere. I feel like we need to coordinate with the extra folks, ask them questions maybe, see if they have any thoughts about any of this, and make sure that we get ahead of Lashrog, because we can't let him get close. We just can't.
Yeah, I think that would be kind of like her parting words to her dad. Would be like, we'll be back, and we're not going to leave you here," type of thing. I promise, type of thing. I don't. She'll just like die.
He would nod, and I think he would reach out as if to touch your face before he slides back into the ruins.
I will.
I love you.
I love you too.
It's probably better. He probably needs a nap. That's the most interaction that he's had in years.
It looks exhausting for him.
Considering how hard it is to move around a soul side of a body, yeah, that's probably pretty rough.
Alright, let's get everyone back in the sub and pull it away from this place until we can actually get a hold of someone.
Okay.
Do we know, based on like when Lauren was tracking Lost Rug for those 10 minutes, do we know, could we like estimate like where he'd be coming from compared to where we are?
He would still be to the northwest of you.
Yeah, I would assume he's just beelining it.
Yeah, I feel like we probably should just start having the ship head towards the northwest.
Yeah, I think the one really important thing to remember is he does have that teleporting thing, so if he does get within 1 or 2 miles or however long his range is, he can just be here in a moment. So we have to at least keep the perimeter further than that range.
Yeah, I feel like if anything, we just keep it behind us
Yes, exactly.
so that we can be close, but kind of see what the terrain is, see where we can hide, and try to ambush if possible.
Yeah, I don't know how realistic as I look at the fucking empty ocean around us. Like, yeah, if we can ambush, that's great. I'm not gonna count on it. But oh, sorry.
No, you're good.
I do think we'd probably, if Lauren has nothing more to say to her dad, meet back up in the ship before the hour is up on the telepathic bond and just pull it away from the light and get some distance.
Okay. What direction are you guys heading?
Well, one to Chani just said northwest
Yeah.
Northwest. Okay.
for a little
Are
ways.
you rising, or are you just kind of keeping at this level?
I could rise a little bit, I guess.
Okay. And the red light does not go away, obviously, but you would very quickly lose sight of the shadow of this place
We'll
behind
just
you.
keep the location. I mean, we're not going to miss it. We could just turn around if we needed to. And I think we'd go for little ways, maybe. I don't know how fast this thing goes, but like a half an hour, maybe. Till we actually.
It's not very fast. It's about as fast as a ship on water.
Does the light even remotely start to dim?
No.
Okay.
No. That light started within an hour of you guys hitting. Not even within an hour. It was. As soon as you guys hit the water, like that light was already.
Well, yeah, we landed like right next to it though.
Directly on top of it.
Yeah. So.
7 miles up, but who's counting?
Right. But did we have any estimate for like how big the radius of this beam was from the surface?
You know that you can see it from Freeport.
Well, but I mean, like we saw it from space. We saw the circle.
Yeah,
How big was it?
That beam is like it's bright enough that you're able to see a decent amount of that kind of cast off light, the diffuse light in the air from Freeport. I mean, it's big.
Like the entirety of the Halon crater big?
Not quite. I'd say like the night before the battle was probably like the brightest night you guys really had, like looking at it, because it was that much closer. But it was still over the horizon, even like at the edge.
Right. I'm not talking about whether we could see it. I'm just saying, how big was the circle on the
It's
world?
big. It's very, very big. It's not as big as the whole crater, but it's a lot of the crater.
That's all I'm asking. How big was the circle?
I'm trying to big.
So non-specific, but okay.
I don't have an exact number for you.
We will drive a ways. How much time? What time of day is it?
Sorry, real quick. Dumb question. Would it be possible to channel spell slots into the circle to give it an extra boost?
Into the seal?
Like the temple?
Yeah. I mean, if he was able to I'll go ahead and throw and I'm sorry, I was like, wait, I need to do this before we leave.
Oh. Okay. I didn't know we had stuff still on the docket.
I didn't either. I thought about it. Yeah. Okay, well, I'll go ahead and put in since we're about to basically go on a break. I'll go ahead and put in a level 5 spell.
Okay. It's not nothing.
And actually, this is gonna sound weird. Whenever I put a spell slot into it, do I have to channel a specific spell, or can I just throw magic at it?
You can try a specific spell if you want to do that.
Because I know that I have that thing that lets me basically make a holy ground, but like it's
that takes like 24 hours to cast.
Right. Well, that's why I was saying if I'm throwing just magic at it or a specific spell, if the you can try either one. I will go ahead and do one for Dispel Good and Evil at level 5. Since it's kind of in the same realm of protection type magic.
Interesting.
You dispel the ruins.
No! I didn't put a Dispel Magic into it!
Lost Shrug's like, wow, they did it for me.
Okay.
Assuming that we're not like, because we're just trying to get out of here. Like, are we on a time of we have to leave now?
No, but I felt like it would be prudent to get in touch with people, so I figured I'd try and move us in that direction.
Okay, well, if I can have an hour.
I feel like we were there for probably about an hour, honestly, with you searching around the temple and Aloran talking to her dad.
I was
Another
doing
hour.
stuff in that hour. I need an hour for this spell. For a specific one.
Lost Rock's probably at least another day out, so...
Okay, then I'll change the spell from Protection from Good and Evil to Planar Binding, because that's very in the correct
that's pretty
realm.
on theme.
Attempt to buy a celestial elemental fae or fiend to your service.
For Planar.
I assume you have jewels for this.
Yes, I brought. Remember way back when I was like, I'm just gonna buy everything for the spells that I have in my.
Okay.
I don't remember what they are, but I'm just gonna just.
I would say you're attempting to kind of reinforce the seal itself.
Yeah, so I'm trying
rather than casting this on top of the seal. So you're kind of like feeding a flavor of magic into it.
Mm-hmm. Just to see if it's possible, because like this is an experiment, and the worst that can happen is it doesn't work.
So what I'll say then is go ahead and make a wisdom check for me.
A wisdom check or a wisdom save?
Check.
Should I use my inspiration for this? Because that was not very good. Hold on, wait, that's not up. 10.
I would
Unless
say
someone wants to give me bardic inspiration.
Oh, I could have given you bardic inspiration for that, sure.
Yay!
I got 10 of them to throw around. Take it.
18.
18. Okay. I would say it's a little bit of a struggle at first, but with the encouragement of your friends,
Thank you.
You can do it.
you kind of double down, focus, and you begin kind of working to try and weave this binding spell kind of into the seal, trying to enmesh the threads of this magic within the tapestry that is this massive ruin complex. And
Burberry's just walking around in a circle, gesturing wildly because he's like rearranging magic and shit, but from everybody else's perspective, he looks like a nut.
yeah. I would say as you complete this spell over the course of this hour, you definitely get the sense that what you have done is tantamount to a patch on, a very, 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 very large sinking vessel. You can sense the fraying magic of this place and doing your best to try and kind of weave this magic, your magic, into it. It's not nothing, but it is just a very small bit of reinforcement on something very, very big against something much, 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 much bigger. And this binding spell, as it completes and kind of runs its course and tries to find a being to whom it wishes, to bind to your service.
If I manage to bind the Lords down to my service, I'm gonna laugh.
You momentarily, for a split second, feel your will brush up against something massive. It's like diving in the dark and feeling something hundreds of feet long swimming past you, not being able to see it, but feeling it move.
I touched a blue whale. I touched something bigger than a blue whale.
Much bigger. And much...
I touched a moon!
Now we're going to do a wisdom save.
Oh.
How'd you do?
I have a very dumb rules lawyer thing I could toss at this.
What's that?
Technically, if Burberry didn't succeed on their wisdom check, they would still have their bardic inspiration.
They succeeded at weaving the spell into the seal. Like,
okay.
it is in the seal. That
well, then you are shit out of luck. Good luck.
That's an 11.
Oof.
I rolled a 2.
In that brief moment that your mind brushes up against this entity, Burberry,
this is my payment for all the good Arcana checks.
Yeah. Has to come back around eventually.
You take 28 psychic damage.
Damn!
That's an ouchie.
Suddenly I'm really glad I used my hit dice.
You are stricken by a terrible fear of the aperture in the center of this chamber. And that fear does not pass until you board the verdigris with the others and begin to sail away. And finally, the adrenaline begins to kind of like die down, and you're able to kind of catch your breath. But you can still remember the sensation of that thing's will dwarfing your own. That was not an okay feeling. That was bad. Koron was a piece of shit. This felt way, way worse.
I'm just gonna go curl. You know what? I'm just gonna go curl up into a small ball over there.
I need a drink.
Okay.
No, we're not doing this drunk. Bad idea. But I'm gonna get.
So, Burberry's planar binding, reinforcing the seal, but also drawing him into contact, brief as it was, with the being on the other side.
Right. Not gonna... Good in an emergency, maybe not a great long-term plan.
As the vertebrae sails away, you
yes.
guys are on board. You have converged. You may deliberate.
If we if we drive for a while, I mean, like, okay, I don't know. Just every half hour, I feel like I'd check in and see, like, how much do I still feel the horrible tingles? You know, I'll use that as our metric.
The tingles are, the tingles, I will say, they started up pretty quickly after you hit the water. They grew in intensity as you got deeper.
Yep.
I'd say you guys were probably diving for about 4 hours.
Right. Okay.
I think sailing out from it.
Yeah. Doesn't have to go away, but I'd want to, like, you know, I wouldn't want to drive out more than, like, 3 hours, I guess, because we want to be able to get back in an emergency if we had to.
Yeah, I would say with 3 hours of submersible driving, you still feel it. And, you know, the exterior of the ship is still red. Like, that has not changed.
Okay, well...
It is bright enough to sail, or to shine up through the surface of the ocean and into the sky, like, visible from the other side of the planet, almost. Like,
right.
It is bright.
Yeah, I mean, at a certain point, you know, I feel like gotta give sending another shot.
Okay, yeah. Go ahead and give me another sending.
Also, just to make sure I'm not, like, kicking myself in the... Shooting myself in the foot is a better way to say it. This isn't not working because of some divination blocking thing on the submarine, right?
No.
Okay. We can send on here.
Yes.
Okay.
Sending is evocation, if I believe correctly. Yeah. So that's
Okay.
fine. It's not the sub.
Honestly, I think Noah would probably just say that same message again.
Okay.
I'll go to Alexi.
Alexi's reply is garbled by the arcane equivalent of radio static. It comes through piecemeal. You get Noel tried to where are you? Are you safe?
I guess we could go
And
enough.
you would have been saying, like, are you, like, you're at this temple, Lushrock's on the way, we have to stop him.
Yeah.
It's all of that. Yeah. His reply is basically trying to confirm, like, where are you now?
Gotcha. I'll try again.
Okay.
I don't know if it matters if I use a higher level slot, but this has to be a 4th.
Okay. I will take that into consideration.
Okay. I think I would say we've driven 3 hours out from the ruins northwest. We are near the bottom of the Halan Deep. We hope we can touch base soon.
This one comes through a little bit clearer.
Yeah.
Say,
I'm tapped for the day. Try reaching you tomorrow. Maybe some more distance. That's about it.
Well, so long as we keep heading northwest, I think we're okay to keep moving away from the ruins.
Okay.
How many miles have we moved away from the ruins now?
In 3 hours, 10 or 12.
Okay.
Not especially far, but it's enough. It helps.
So are we trying to find Lasharog right now? Or
No, I think... Well, we want to be able to meet back up with Alexi and the rest, right?
yeah, I wasn't sure if we were actually going to be able to do that before we encountered Lasharog.
I mean, if they have some... If there are any semblance of logic in this game, then the Velasco's Bane would probably be faster than Lasharog. But I'm not going to count on it, but we should try and position ourselves to make that possible. That's all. For now, though, maybe we should rest. Or try.
Okay. Trying to get a long rest in?
Yeah.
Alright. Fair enough.
Frankly, if it was possible, we could have started doing that 2 hours ago.
And 2 hours ago would still be like mid-afternoon.
Okay, I didn't know what time of day it was.
Yeah, you guys hit Velasco's Bane before noon, and then you dove and plunged. By the time you got there, it was probably like 4 in the afternoon. So 3 hours later is like 7 p.m.
Well, we arrived at the ruins at 4, and then we explored for 2 hours, and then we've driven for another 2 hours, and that would have been when we.
Yeah, that's fair.
So we could have started a long rest a couple hours ago.
Okay. So long rest started.
Yes.
Anything from the party before we move forward then? And by move forward, I mean probably call the session because we're getting pretty close to midnight y'all's time.
I'm going to review my notes, and that's what I'm going to spend most of this doing. I will also write the effects of what happens when you successfully try to fit a spell in it.
You know, planar binding specifically, I think. Trying to exert your will on whatever creature this might be.
I was just like, it's going to be a thing, and it's planar, so if it's a planar spell, that would work better.
Has the word planar in it.
Yeah, it's just, probably doesn't appreciate the attempt to bind it. Probably lashed out a little bit.
For whatever it's worth, I feel like if there's anything that happens between the start of our long rest and the end of the session, I feel like Noelle probably would at some point talk to Aloran and just say, "Are you okay?" Because that was a lot. And just to be honest, I'm not. So you can say no.
No. No, and I am trying not to think of it right now.
If it helps at all, we're pretty powerful people at this point. I think the resources we have at our disposal, once Lasharog is dead, I think we could get Volos. I genuinely believe that.
I do too. I just didn't want to leave him there like that.
He knows we'll be back. He knows you love him. And And he knows that you're smart enough and brave enough to figure this out.
I think she'll just kind of nod her head a little bit.
I want more than anything to just cut Lashrog off in his tracks.
I'm gonna kill him so good. So good.
I know you
The
are.
best death of this century.
I'll write a poem about it when it's all
That'll
done.
be a very bad poem. Very gory.
Oh, there's some very good, gruesome, grisly poems. I have a couple books I'll have to show you.
Okay, well, that'll go in one.
Okay, try to get some sleep, Lauren, for everyone's sake. We all need it.
Yeah. Lauren's not getting wasted, but she is drinking a little bit of alcohol.
I think Noelle would ask for a little swig of that, too.
Yeah, she'd hand it over. She's not being, like, insane.
Yeah. Just something to take the edge off.
Yeah.
Honestly, Adlar's probably drinking more than Lauren is tonight.
What's wrong with you?
This shit's fucking crazy. So, I get it. I get why. It's like those to Lauren. Holy shit.
You finally get my depression.
Took you long enough.
It's like an evil fucking god down there.
Please tell me I don't have to be the designated driver for you two tonight.
The designated drivers are in the bridge.
I'm not driving anywhere.
No.
Talk about getting you back to your beds without bonking into everything.
We're in hammocks, my friend.
Not even a bed. He'll
It
just
is
carry me.
very easy to hit your head on things down here. I have bumped
That is
into so many stupid pipes.
Try being 7 foot tall.
Oh, Barnaby.
Barnaby's walking through the sub. It's just fucking.
He's just hunched over the whole way, man.
Why do you think I wear a helmet?
Pipes dinging on his helmet. Like a xylophone.
Well, that's all I had. Because it was definitely a lot for her today, so I wanted to make sure Lauren was okay as anyone could be. But
Yeah, she's vibing.
she's holding on. We're hanging in there. We're all hanging in there.
It's like the end's in sight.
I think that's mostly what's getting to her. She's just like, it's almost over. It's almost over.
Okay.
Kill him. I have a sweet one-liner to use on that shrug.
Got it. Ready to go.
She's gonna rip off his head. Probably mummify it.
Ugh.
Talk to Gideon about that. He loves that stuff.
Perfect.
Yeah, true. If that is it, then I think we'll leave off there. And pick up next time. See where this goes.
Sounds good.
Boy, I sure hope we get this long rest. That's my only hope.
Yeah, that'll be very nice. But Alorn before bed would cast Heroes Feast on the party. Yay!
Oh yeah! How glorious!
Make a note so we can roll for that next time.
Oh yeah, they'll hit dice and stuff.
Yep.
Yep.
Okie dokie.
All right. Well, can we get an MVP for the session?
Oh, Lauren?
I was also to Burberry. I feel like you were doing the most productive stuff.
I go Burberry. I just talked to my dead ghost dad
I go with Lauren.
and then left him behind.
I mean, I was big a little bit.
All right,
yeah.
Lauren, MVP.
Burberry, do you need inspiration?
I